Welcome to Question Bank. In this video, I am going to solve more questions from random MCQ. That is, here no subject bound or topic bound is given. And without wasting much time, I am going to start the questions. First question: which of the following motor is used to drive the constant speed line shifting lathes, blowers and fans? This is DC shunt motor, because the DC shunt motors are used for constant speed drives. Next question: the sag of a transmission line conductor in summer is, this is option A is less than that in winter, option B more than that in winter, option C same as in winter, option D none of the above. So here option B is the correct answer, that is more than that in winter, because in case of summer the conductor get stretched or the length of the conductor increased, so the sag will also increase. Next question: the change of DC excitation of a synchronous motor changes option A motor speed, option B applied voltage of the motor, option C power factor. All options are correct. This is option C, that is power factor. How? In case of synchronous motor, the two most important thing is the inverted curve and inverted V and straight V curve. This is IF, that is excitation, field excitation, and this is terminal voltage, and this is the inverted V curve. Suppose this one is the line, this for leading and this for lagging. So if we increase or decrease the DC excitation, then what will happen? DC excitation, what will happen? DC excitation if we change, then the reactive power absorbed or provided by the motor or generator, it changes by synchronous device changes. So here if we increase, then it will be leading, that means it will act as condenser. If we decrease the DC excitation, it will act as lagging or the inductor. So this is the power factor is the correct answer. Next question: which of the following produces braking torque in induction type energy meter? This is eddy current, because in induction type energy meter there is a aluminum disc, and eddy current is produced in that aluminum disc, and this aluminum disc restrict the cause which is producing the eddy current, that act as the braking torque. Next question: what will be the value of unknown inductance Lx in millihenry and the effective resistance Rx in ohm respectively for the circuit given below when no current flow through the galvanometer? That means the circuit is in balanced condition. And what is this circuit? This is Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge. And we will solve, and in this the R X will be, unknown resistance will be equal to this. Suppose this is R 2, this is R3, this is Z4. So this will be Z4 means this is R4, this is X, sorry, L4. So Rx will be R2 R3 by R4. Very simply, R2 R3 by R4, and this will be equal to 20 into 40 by R4, that is 30, and this will come to be around 26.666, and I am writing 26.67 ohm. Next is Lx, that is unknown inductance. Unknown inductance is formula simple, R2 R3 C4, R2 R3 C4, same R2 R3, and when capacitance comes, this should be in the denominator, but due to the capacitance, capacitive reactance 1 by omega C, C will be above. So this is the process. I have remembered the formula. This will be 20 into 40 into 40 micro, 40 into 10 to the power minus 6 Henry. So this will be around 32 millihenry. So here are the answers: 32 millihenry and 26.67. 32 millihenry and 26.67. This is the option A is the correct answer. And here I have to mention more things, that is, if it is asked for Q factor is Q factor with frequency, suppose angular frequency omega, then Q factor will be omega L1 by R1 or omega C4 R4. This is the Q factor formula, and this is suitable for measurement of inductance which is of medium Q coil. Medium Q coil means that is the Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge is for medium Q coil. That means Q factor is between 1 to 10, and for high Q factor value, high Q inductance, generally S bridge preferred, and for incremental inductance, sorry, the low Q, for low Q there is Anderson's bridge, and Anderson bridge is the most accurate one. Next is for incremental inductance and incremental permeability, Owens bridge is preferred. These are more informations regarding AC bridges to measure inductance, which we should remember. Next question: the material having low retentivity are suitable for making. This is the answer is the temporary magnet, not permanent magnet or weak magnet. How? I am describing what is retentivity. This is, suppose the BH curve, this is the BH curve of a magnetic ferromagnetic material. This is H, this axis is H, and this axis is B. And suppose this point is A and this point is C. So I am writing this C point as R. And retentivity is the material's ability to retain a certain amount of residual magnetic field when magnetizing force is removed after achieving saturation. This is, I am explaining, I increase the magnetic flux or magnetic force I have increased, across the metal, and this will increase, B will increase, and after certain time this will comes to saturation. Then we have decreased this one, decrease the magnetic force, and this will come in this way, not the same way we have provided, or this will first start from 0 and then this will come in this way. That means this part is the retained, this part, suppose this is O, then OR is the remnant or retentivity, remnant flux density or the retentivity. If this is not a ferromagnetic material, then it will come in the same path, because it is retaining some of the magnetic dipoles in the previous position. So OR is called the retentivity. And here the question is asking for low retentivity. Low retentivity means the very less residual magnetism, or this metal cannot be permanent magnet because there is very less residual magnetism. And here the C point is called coercive field or coercivity. This is called coercivity, and this is called retentivity. Next question, determine the total power in kilowatt consumed by three-phase delta connected system supplied by a line voltage of 240 volt when the value of phase current is 20 ampere and the current lags the voltage by 60 degree. Here is the question and I am explaining here. Suppose this one is the delta connected circuit and 20 ampere is flowing in the phase, and this one is the line, 240 volt is the line voltage, and here V line voltage will be phase voltage because this is delta connected, and this is also the given one is RMS. So this is 240 volt, and three phase power is given by 3 into single phase power, and this will be 3 into the single phase power will be RMS voltage, RMS current, both are phase voltage, phase current, and the power factor cos phi, and this will be 3 into 240 given, 20 also given, and cos 60 is given, 60 here given, the current lags the voltage by 60 degree. So here we can say that the circuit is consisting of the inductors and the resistors because the current is lagging. This is coming to be 7.2 kilowatt. 7.2 kilowatt. Option D. Next question. Which of the following quantity will remain the same when a layer of Teflon is inserted between plates of charged parallel plate capacitor? Option A, capacitance. Option B, charge. Option C, energy of the capacitor. Option D, the potential. And this is the charge, because Teflon is an insulator, and when different type of insulators are inserted into the parallel plate capacitor, then the charge storing capacity will change. Next, because here the charge storage capacity changes because of the epsilon r, relative permittivity. Relative permittivity of Teflon may be more than that of relative permittivity of free space or air or any other insulator. So depending upon this, the charge storing capacity also changes. In a PN junction, the potential barrier is due to the charges on either side of junction. Consider this sentence first. PN junction, the potential barrier is due to the charges on either side of the junction. These charges are, what are the charges? First, I want to explain what is the potential barrier. This is the mechanism. Suppose this one is a PN junction, this one is P, and this one is N side, and in this, in P side, there are the majority carrier as holes, I have denoting by circles, and minority carriers as electron, I am by showing the negative marks. Here in N side, the majority carrier is the electrons and the minority carriers are holes. There are some holes. So P type and N type semiconductors are natural when naturally neutral. The P itself is neutral, N itself is neutral. But during junction formation, majority carrier of either side, that is electrons from N side and holes from the P side, cross the junction to neutralize themselves, because here at the junction, when the formation of junction takes place, these electrons think that we should go to the either side and combine with that holes, and the holes of the P side thinks that we should go to the either side and will combine with the electrons to neutralize themselves. So what will happen? This is the junction, and some of the, this is the P side and this is the N side, some of the holes from P side comes to this one, this side, and some of the electrons from N side comes to P side to neutralize themselves. So there will be a layer in both sides of the junction in which there will be no carrier, that is the holes or electrons, and as there are movement of the electrons or the holes, then the holes are coming from the P side to the N side, so that here there will be a charged one, here this region will be charged, of the charge due to that movement of the holes, and this region also charged due to the movement of electrons from n side. Only the charge carriers just here to the junctions take part in this process, and they form a layer which depleted with charge carriers, that is the deficient of carriers. And now the some holes enter to the n side and some electrons enter to the p side. That is why the barrier potential arises, and the molecules in the potential barrier remain in the ion form. This causes the potential barrier in p-n junction during the formation. So this the cause of this potential barrier is the fixed donor and acceptor ions. Option D is the correct answer. Next question, in a suspension type insulator, the voltage across the top disk is maximum, across the top disk is minimum, across the center disk is minimum, across the center disk it is maximum. This is the suspension type. Suppose this is the arm of a tower and this is the suspension type disk insulators. Suppose there are 6 insulators, means that is for 66 kV, 6 insulators, and here is the conductor, here is the conductor which carrying the potential or the current. So the maximum, what is it asking for? The suspension of the insulator, the voltage or the potential difference will be maximum here, maximum at the disk which is nearest to the conductor, and minimum for the disk which is nearest to the arm or which is far from the conductor or the top one. So here the answer is the across the top disk, this is minimum, option B. Next question, the armature current of a synchronous motor is minimum when operating at option A unit power factor, option B 0.707 power factor lagging, 0.707 power factor leading, 0 power factor leading. So this is the V curve. This is, if we will consider the V curve. V curve is drawn between IA and IF, that is excitation current. This is excitation current and this is armature current, and this is the V curve. V curve is like this, and this is the lagging, I am writing it below, lagging portion. This one is leading portion. This one is the minimum current, minimum IA, that is armature current, and this portion is the overexcited, that is why this is leading, current is leading. This one is under excited, that is why it is lagging, and this is the UPF, unit power factor line. So asking for armature current of the synchronous motor is minimum at this one. This is unity power factor. This is unity power factor. Option A is the correct answer. So most important thing we have to remember in the synchronous motor is inverted V curve and V curve. Next question, which of the following should be used under no load conditions? Option A, isolator. Option B, renewable fuse. Option C, air brake switch. Option D, circuit breaker. This is isolator. This is isolator. Question number 13. In synchronous motor, hunting occurs due to overexcitation, overloading, or for long period, overloading for long period, periodic variation of load, small and constant load. First thing, due to small and constant load, there will be no hunting. Next is overloading for long periods. Due to overloading, initially there will be hunting, and this will, for the long period, the hunting will be normalized. So this is also not the option. Then overexcitation, this is clearly not the option. So periodic variation of loads. Periodic variation of the loads. Next question, the three bulbs given 50 watt, 70 watt, 80 watt. Out of the three bulbs, which bulb has thickest filament, assuming all the bulbs have tungsten filament of same length? What is here given? Here three bulbs are given and the filaments are made up of tungsten, that is material is same and same length is given. So first thing we have to consider, power is equal to V square by R, and I can write that R is equal to V square by P. If we consider the all bulbs of same voltage rating, then considering voltage equal to constant rating of the same bulbs, then R is inversely proportional to P, that is the power. So what will happen, resistance of 50 watt bulb will be highest and resistance of 70 watt bulb will be medium and resistance of that of 80 watt bulb will be minimum, because the maximum is the power, minimum will be the resistance, as we have seen here. And as we know, R is equal to rho L by A, and here the same material is used, so rho will be constant. Given length is constant, so R is inversely proportional to A, that is the area of the conductor or the thickness. So what will happen, the signs will be only changes, that means area of a 50 watt bulb will be minimum, area of the wire of 70 watt bulb will be medium, and area of that of 80 watt bulb will be maximum. So answer will be 80 watt bulb has thickest wire. Option C. Next question, the value of RB for a desired Q point 5 milliampere 5 volt in the circuit shown below using silicon transistor will be. This is, what is Q point? First thing, Q point is the operating point. Suppose this is VCE and this is IC. For common emitter configuration, this is the characteristic, this is the characteristic output characteristic. And what is Q point? Suppose this is the operating line, not curved. This one is suppose the operating line, suppose this point is, in case of amplifying operation, this is operated in this region only, that means not in cutoff region, not in saturation region, only in active region. And in this active region, suppose this point is one, this is also this point is are called Q points, and Q point, this point also can be a Q point. And here the VC value, suppose this point VCE value is given 5 volt and IC value is given 5 milliampere, and we will solve the RB. This one is asking. So here VCE is given 5 volt, IC is given 5 milliampere, beta is given 50. So IC by IB is the beta, that is the current gain, and IB will be IC by beta, and this will be 5 milliampere by 50, and this will be 0.1 milliampere. And here if we apply here KVL, what will happen? This one is VCC, this one is VCC, and what will happen? I am zooming out. What will happen? IB is equal to VCC minus VBE by RB. This is VCC, this is VBE, that means base to emitter. This one is emitter, this one is base to emitter voltage, and RB is given. So what will happen? VBE for an silicon transistor, this will be 0.7 volt. So this will be 5.4 given here, 5.4 minus 0.7 by RB, which is we have already calculated 0.1 milliampere IB. So this will be 0.1 milli is equal to 4.7, because 5.4 minus 0.7 is 4.7 by 0.1, and current is given, sorry, this is RB, and RB will be 47 kilo ohm. Option B is the correct answer. Next question, question number 16. Determine the value of time when an average EMF of 100 volt is induced in a coil of area 200 cm square with 100 turns when it is completely removed from magnetic field of 30 Tesla acting at the right angle to the coil. Here what is this giving? Time is asking, and we know that EMF is given by minus n d phi by dt, and phi here is the flux, and it is given by flux density, flux per unit area. This is the flux density into area, and this is flux density is given 30 Tesla, means 30 Weber per meter square. So Weber per meter square into area, that is in meter square, then the flux will be Weber in Weber. So this will be 30 into area is given 200 centimeter square. So this will be 200 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter square. Because this is in centimeter square, I am giving it in meter square, and this is the unit will be Weber. And EMF is generated is 100 volt is equal to n is also 100 into n phi. This is the phi value, 30 into 200 into 10 to the power minus 4 by T, and T will be 30 into 200 into 10 to the power minus 4. This will be equal to 0.6 second. Option C. Next question, using Millman's theorem, find the current through the load resistance RL of 3 ohm. This is 3 ohm shown below. Using Millman's theorem, this whole circuit can be converted to a single voltage and a resistance. And suppose this one is V and this one is R, then V will be equal to, how the formula, the voltage 8 into 1 by resistance 1 by 3 corresponding 1 by resistance plus 16 into 1 by resistance, this one plus 24 into 1 by resistance by 1 by resistance plus 1 by resistance plus 1 by resistance, and this is coming to be 48 by 3, which is equal to 16 volt, and the equivalent resistance is given by 1 by resistance plus 1 by resistance plus 1 by resistance, which is equal to 1 ohm. And here the complete circuit is coming to be, this is the voltage and this one is the load, and this is coming to be 16 volt, this is 1 ohm, this is 3 ohm, and here current will be I is equal to 16 by 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4 ampere. So option B is the correct answer here. Next question, the RMS of the periodic waveform given in the figure is. We will consider first the cycle. This is the periodicity starts from here, so we will start this one. So for this one we have to first determine the equation of this line, because this is constant, only this one is the critical thing. So using 2-point form, this point is t by 2 6 minus 6, and using 2-point form the equation can be found out as y minus y1 is equal to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1 whole into x minus x1, and here x1 y1 is 0 point, y minus 0 is equal to minus 6 minus 0 by t by 2 minus 0 into x minus 0. This is coming to be y is equal to minus 12 by t x, and if I have convert to the real one, then f of t is equal to minus 12 by t small t is x, and this is the function for this curved line, slanted line, and this also can be find out by y is equal to mx plus c. M is the slope and c is here 0, because this is crossing through the origin, and here ft I can write as minus 12 by t when t is from 0 to t by 2, and 6 when this is from t by 2 to t. Here for this one minus 12 by t, and for this one this is 6, and so RMS value will be 1 by t integration from 0 to t f of t whole square dt and square root. Then it will be 1 by t from 0 to t by 2, one section. This is minus 12 by t square dt plus from t by 2 to t 6 square dt and square root. And if we solve this one, this will be coming to be root of 24, and this will be, I am not calculating details, root 6 ampere to root 6 ampere. So here the option 2 root 6, option A is the correct answer. Next question, question number 19. Fermi energy level for n-type extrinsic semiconductor lies close to conduction band. Close to conduction band. What is Fermi energy level? This is the highest occupied energy level of a material at absolute zero temperature, that is 0 Kelvin. At absolute zero temperature, the highest occupied energy level of a material. So suppose this is the conduction band and this is the valence band. Fermi level lies near to the conduction band. This is Fermi level for n-type extrinsic semiconductor because of the electrons are available for conduction. Next, last question, what will be the capacitive susceptance in Siemens of the circuit given below? This is asking for capacitive susceptance. So here I want to say the impedance is the sum of resistance plus or minus J into reactance, and the reverse is the admittance. And this is given by the conductance plus minus J susceptance. We have to find out this one, susceptance, that is 1 by reactance, and susceptance is one by reactance. It is only asking for the capacitive reactance, so we will only consider the capacitive reactance only. So here it will be 1 by xc, and this will be 1 by omega c. This will be omega c. Omega is given here 50 hertz. Omega is 2 pi into frequency into capacitance. Capacitance is given to be 0.4 microfarad, and here 2 pi into 50 hertz, 50 into 0.4 millifarad, and this is coming to be 0.126 ohm inverse or Siemens. 0.126, option number A. So thank you for watching up to here.